All right, let's talk about a challenge that is absolutely massive for companies right now. How in the world do you make a new person feel welcome when your team is literally scattered all over the globe? Let's dive in.
So, picture this, because it happens all the time. You've just hired an amazing new person in Sydney. Awesome. But their manager, they're in London, and the rest of the team is sprinkled everywhere in between.
And that's the real question, right? This is so much more than just shipping them a laptop and setting up their email. It's about culture, it's about connection, and making sure that physical distance doesn't turn into emotional disconnection right from the start. To even start to solve this, we have to just accept a new reality about how we work. The workplace is now borderless. And you know what? That one simple fact completely changes the game for bringing new people on board. And this is not some small niche problem for a few companies. I mean, look at this. A whopping 3 out of every 4 organizations have teams working across different time zones. So if you're dealing with this, you are definitely not alone. You're in the majority.
And this really gets to the heart of it. The old way, the standard one-size-fits-all onboarding packet you give to everyone, it is totally broken in this new world. Trying to jam a global team into a single office mentality is just a recipe for failure.
So when you really break it all down, the challenges fall into 2 big buckets. You can kind of think of them as the 2 main villains of our story. You've got the practical problem of time and the very human problem of culture. On one hand, you've got the time zone gap. This is all logistics, right? It's about scheduling, trying to get a quick answer, and just the basic math of when people are actually online. Then, on the other hand, you have the culture clash. This one's a lot more subtle, but man, it is just as important. It's all about communication styles, social norms, and making someone feel like they actually fit in.
And believe me, the time zone struggle is real. This number, 19%, represents all the remote workers who say that just trying to navigate different time zones is one of their single biggest challenges. It's this constant low-grade friction that just wears you down.
This right here, this is what it actually feels like. Can you imagine being that new hire? You're pumped, you're ready to go, but the most important meeting of the day happens while you're asleep. You're always watching a recording, always playing catch-up. You immediately feel like you're on the outside looking in. And what's wild is that it doesn't take a huge 12-hour gap to cause issues. The research is kind of shocking. For every single hour of time difference between colleagues, that spontaneous real-time communication drops by 11%. Even a small gap creates a huge communication problem over time.
Okay, now for that second villain, culture. And look, while time zones are a logistical nightmare, a cultural misunderstanding can be even worse. It's like a quiet poison that just slowly eats away at the trust and teamwork you need to get anything done.
I mean, think about it. In one culture, being super direct with feedback is a sign of respect, but in another, that could be seen as incredibly rude. Some teams like to build a personal relationship before they talk business, others just jump right in. If your onboarding doesn't prepare people for this, you're setting them up for confusion and alienation from day one.
All right, so we've laid out the problems pretty clearly. Enough doom and gloom. Let's get to the good stuff, the how-to. How do we actually build those connections across oceans and time zones?
So one of the most powerful strategies is a blended approach. It's smart because you separate the what from the who. Step 1, all the core stuff, the company policies, the how-to guides, all of that is on demand, asynchronous. The new hire can learn it on their own time. Then, step 2, you use those few precious hours of overlap for what really matters. Live, synchronous sessions designed for real human connection, Q&As, and just getting to know the team.
Now, to tackle that other big hurdle, culture, there is one skill that is an absolute game changer for the entire team. It's called cultural intelligence. And it's not about memorizing a bunch of facts about different countries. It's the skill of having the awareness and the empathy to work well with anyone, from any background.
So how do you actually build that skill? Well, it comes down to really practical steps. You can do cultural awareness training, especially for managers. You can localize your onboarding materials so they actually make sense in different regions. And one of my favorites, and maybe the most powerful, is a cultural buddy system, pairing your new hire with a veteran teammate who can help them navigate all those unwritten rules. Okay, we have covered the challenges and some of the big picture strategies. Let's pull this all together into an actionable playbook with the key things you need to remember. So here's a quick look at how the playbook works in practice. The blended onboarding, that's what balances flexibility with real connection.
The cultural buddy, that's what gives that personal one-on-one guidance. A digital-first approach makes sure everyone has the same access to everything. And having that global framework with local flexibility means you keep your company values while still respecting how things work in different places.
Look, if you walk away with just a few things, make it these 3. First, design a global framework, but always allow for local flexibility. Second, build your process as if everyone is remote. That's a true digital-first mindset. And third, really prioritize inclusive communication. That means ditching the jargon and idioms that just don't translate well.
And one last thing, and this is so crucial. Your onboarding program should never be finished. It can't be set in stone. The very best companies treat it like a living, breathing thing. They're constantly asking for feedback from new hires to make it better and better.
Because at the end of the day, what are we really trying to do here? It's this. The whole point of a great global onboarding program isn't just about sharing information. It's about building a genuine sense of belonging that's so strong it can stretch across any time zone and any border.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. The next time you hire someone from a different part of the world, what is the one thing you're going to do differently to make sure they feel welcomed, included, and ready to do amazing work from their very first day?